So now that you have this beautiful map of your 10-year vision and goals, what we're going to do in this next part and this next section of our course is really start to talk about what it takes to actually put your goals into action. And so for those of you who are action takers, you're going to be so excited because this is the place to do it. So really what we've been working on this whole time is very much an internal place, internal dialogue, internal emotional state, really internal goals and things that you want to do in the world and identifying it. Now, what we're here to do is make that transition to bring these things to life and to actually put them into the world. So I want to share with you first this metaphor of the eagle and the mouse, which is the Native American metaphor. It's very powerful for what we're about to do. So in the metaphor, if you think about this, the eagle has great vision. An eagle is out there soaring out and seeing for miles at a time the ocean and the mountains and the plains, and that eagle can see all of those things. That's your vision. That's that big picture that's really operating. When you are down here, however, in the details, that's your mouse place. The mouse is down on the ground. The mouse is like by the riverbank, or the mouse is on the beach, and it's just seeing everything in high definition, the sand particles and the dirt, and they're just really getting everything done in that tiny detailed way. What we're looking for is this navigation between the eagle and the mouse, that there is an ability to move between them. My favorite example of this is Steve Jobs. He was excellent at both. And so if you ever had any technical questions for him around the iPod when he was developing it, he could tell you the answer. He knew the details. And yet when he was called to be on the stage and talk about Apple's products, he had vision. He had the ability to see clearly where they were headed as a company. And so he was actually moving very easily between the two. So you want to notice if you're getting stuck in one or the other. Maybe you're getting stuck in the details, you're mired in all the emails and all the execution, and you're forgetting about that big picture vision. Your mission is in your big picture vision. There are some people who love to be up in the clouds and they love the vision and they love having all the ideas and brainstorm in the world. And then what happens is that they never come back down to earth. So we want to just be doing this. And what this is also is doing is showing us the natural cycle of timing, which is really essential when you're starting to come into goals and projects. Because really what happens at the end of any project in any cycle is that the eagle eats the mouse and digests all the details. Graphic, I know, but that's really what we're looking for, is that full cycle. Which leads me into the cycles of success. And this is how you're going to really start to look at your projects. And this is how you're going to start to choose a small baby project to start to practice the cycles of success on, so that you can start to execute and bring this project mentality towards anything you're doing. And I'm talking about literally anything from relationship. Those of you who are in marriage or wanting to get married is a very long project cycle. There's also shorter little baby projects you might be doing, like I'm going to renovate some place in my home, or I really want to move and find a new place, and that's its own project. So we're going to follow these cycles of success, and I'm going to share them with you now. So cycles of success. This first cycle is connection and alignment. So the other piece of any project is you're always working with other people when you're working on a project. It's never a solo affair, because you want to be in this place where you're speaking with others and you're starting to find that communication piece, that you're clear on the internal place for yourself, and then using language to bring it into reality. So in the language piece, you might say, hey, I really like you. We should partner in on this project. So say you wanted to go on vacation with a friend. You would connect with the person you wanted to go on vacation with, and you say, hey, Sarah, let's go on vacation together. So that would be your connection piece. And if you're both connected that you do want to take a vacation together, then you would get into an alignment piece around, is this for the best good for me, the best good for others, the best good for the planet? So for you two, you two planning a project, you would want to start to get aligned on, like, yes, we really are aligned and clear together that now is the right timing. We're both ready for this. We're both clear that we want to figure this out and work on it. And then we have a budget that's similar. We have a general sense of timing that we want to work on together. And you would get really aligned and clear. Say, for example, marriage is another great example of alignment. Say you're with somebody you really love, but they don't want to get married and you do. You would have a misalignment in that situation, right? So you want to always be getting aligned with people around what it is you're doing, around the timing of everything. And once you have that alignment piece in place, that's how you can then start to move your project forward. The second cycle, depth and imagination. So, depth and imagination is also really a place of possibility. And one of the key things to doing this is really allowing the full flow of ideas and information to happen. So, you would actually give yourself a moment to set a timer and then really not let yourself toss out any ideas that seem far fetched, put them all in there, and also resist the temptation to choose the top three that just come out, the first ones that come out. But set a timer, 6 to 8 minutes or even longer, and then really let all the ideas and let the banana ideas that have like no possibility in the world come out. If you were doing this with a travel project, you might actually find like you get to put Antarctica on there or Iceland or literally any dream place you've ever wanted. And you get to just have this full brainstorm. Who cares about the budget? Who cares about the time? Like you just put everything you want into this cycle. Okay, so cycle one and cycle two are really eagle mind. Can you see? Those of you who love to brainstorm and love that project, that's where you're going to come from. Cycle three is for those project managers out there who love a spreadsheet. Cycle three, options and impact. And this is a really simple grid layout system, time and resources. And that's really the things that you're comparing and trying to do. So what you do is you look at your cycle two, depth and imagination, you pick your top three and then you lay them out and you start to look at time, you look at resources, and you start to figure out what it is here, then you would start to put into action. So for example, if you were going on a trip, you would put down how long does it take to get there? What's the cost of the flight? What's the cost of the hotel on the ground? Do we need a car? What are the activities that we would do there? What are the expenses for all of these pieces for food? Do we want a place that has a kitchen? Do we want to stay in a hotel and all of those pieces? So this is where you're starting to map out all of those details, and then you're doing it for each of your options. So say you have one trip that's going to take you to Mexico, and then one trip that's going to take you to Paris, and then one trip that's taking you to Hawaii. You would come up with all of that for each of the three options, and then you would actually take a look. And you are always making sure you're doing three options whenever you're in the options and the impacts cycle. And then at the end of this cycle, you would choose. You are, okay, this is clearly our best choice. Which now leads us in to cycle four. Cycle four is fulfillment. And cycle four is the longest cycle out of all five of the cycles because you're actually in the action of your project. You're actually in the constant fulfillment of your project. And so in this place, you are starting to use language to make things happen. Two key elements of language that are going to happen here are promises and requests. So promises is I promise to do X by time Y. So I promise that I will do this activity with you on Wednesday in Cancun. And you're like, okay, right. So you're starting to fulfill on what it is that this vacation is about. I promise that we are going to make sure that we cook one dinner in our Airbnb during that trip because I said that I would. Or if you're someone on the other side of like to stick to the budget, I'm going to make that request to you. I request of you that we cook 2 times during this vacation. And then you're really starting to do this. So the request-based system is the same as promises. I request X of you by time Y. And when you're starting to do this, you're actually really starting to generate and work with people and start to get clarity with people around actually getting things done and having things happen in a timely way. So that's our promises and the requests, and that you're using this to fulfill on your project and have fun on your project wherever you're at, and really starting to use these systems so that you can have clarity and clear communication with everyone in your project throughout the cycle. Okay, which takes us to cycle 5, appreciation and learning. So in appreciation and learning, you're complete. You've flown back from your trip. You're really clear on the things that were great, things that didn't work. And now is the time to really start to go in first to honor yourself. Like, I appreciate myself for initiating this project. I appreciate myself for taking the time to go on vacation. I appreciate myself for having fun when I was feeling a little bit stressed, whatever it is. So you start by appreciating yourself really specifically. And then you also appreciate the other people who participated in the project. And so even if, say, this is a work project where you're like, man, all kinds of things went sideways, can you still find those pieces that really did go well? that really are important for you to understand and acknowledge the things that are wonderful and beautiful. So then now you can go into the learning cycle. And the learning is like what worked and what can we grow on? What can we improve? What can we shift and expand next time? For example, on a travel project, you might find like, oh, we really shouldn't have gone to that place at this time of year. Like, man, July in Phoenix was not a great call, right? And then you can say, okay, next time we're not going to go to such a hot place when we're going in the summertime. Or next time we didn't get a kitchen and actually really should have gotten a kitchen because I felt like we just ate out the whole time and I really wanted to have some time where I could just have coffee at home and not have to constantly buy all my food. So you're using this learning cycle to really apply and to look back at what happened over the lifetime of this cycle so that you can actually learn and grow for what is next. So now what I want you to do is just identify which cycles you're strong at and which cycles you find challenging. Which maybe it's one or two cycles that you're really, oh yeah, I'm a visioner, I'm a big picture, 1, 2. Oh man, I'm super challenged by appreciation and learning. I like to just move on to the next. I'm like a done and go on. So identify the ones you're strong at, identify the ones you're challenged at, and then bring that together. And then we can really start to work and make it so that you have strength and ability in all 5 of the cycles.